broadcasting live 4 days a week worldwide
from the sunny beaches of Southern California.
This is ExtremeHealthRadio.com.
G'day, this is Joe Cross from the movie Fat, Sick and Nearly Dead and from RebootWithJoe.com. I'm on Extreme Health Radio with Justin and Kate, and we are juicing up the world.
Well, today we have a very special guest in the studio today. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited about this. We have Nedalee Thomas on from ChansonWater.com. We'll introduce her in just a second. This is episode 285 of Extreme Health Radio, pre-recorded, special pre-recorded show. So we appreciate all you guys being on.
Special edition.
Special edition. And normally we broadcast live 4 days a week on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific. If you guys would like to join us on the live show in the chat room and be a part of the community on there, we really appreciate that. It's just an honor to be here with you guys. And then if you guys would like to support our show, a great way to do that is if you go to our link first, before you go to Amazon, it's extremehealthradio.com/Amazon. You can support our work anytime you make purchases there on Amazon. So it's a really great thing. We really appreciate that. And this is episode 285. This is Wednesday, July 16th, Kate?
You got it.
And we have a special guest in the studio. I'm so excited. Nedalee Thomas from ChansonWater.com. And we actually had the opportunity to visit your facility a while back. What was that, about a couple...
3 weeks, maybe?
A few weeks ago.
A few weeks ago.
It was fun to get to meet you both.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I have to ask... we originally got hooked up with you through your daughter. Is that correct?
You did.
Yes, that's right.
She's a fan of the show.
Wow. That is so cool. Yeah, we got an email from her, I think, a few months back.
Yeah, we did.
And
probably more than a few. It was my fault I didn't get back to her sooner. But yeah, she said, boy, do I have a great guest for your next show. And I said, huh. And the more we looked into it, we thought, you're, 20-minute drive from us? And it was intriguing. And here we are. We went up there, and we were there for a few hours chatting with you and learning about what you do. And thanks for coming down to the studio.
Oh, my pleasure.
This is so great.
Excited to be with you today.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Fun. So fun. So you started Chanson Water. You're the co-founder and CEO of Chanson Water. How many years ago was that you started that?
We started Chanson Water 6 years ago, but prior to that, we were selling water ionizers for 2 years. Mm-hmm. So we've been in the industry 8 years, and we started out selling all of the major brands. And I began to want to present them well to people. I wanted to be able to talk about the differences of them, and compare apples to apples. And so we began extensive testing on all the different brands and even taking apart ionizers, looking inside. And it really kind of started out as a fluke. One of them is really large, and we wanted to find out why on earth is this thing so big?
How big was it?
It's... I consider it to be massive, and I won't name the brand. It takes up a lot of space on your counter and can block plugs and all that kind of thing.
Wow.
And we had somebody with us that was from another company. We're friends still with these people that have the different competitors, because when we left selling them, we did everything in integrity. Mm-hmm. But I remember one of the men saying, when we opened up that first one, it's like, oh my gosh, that looks like the back of my grandmother's refrigerator. And this guy had built ionizers from scratch, so he really knew them well.
Wow.
And that sent us kind of on an adventure of really exploring and looking deeper and finding out some of the things we'd been hearing, weren't correct. We did testing on our own, and one of them had a filter that didn't even filter chlorine. And we went, wow, is this really something we want to represent?
Did that company, did it claim it filtered chlorine or no?
They did. And when we approached them on it, they kind of tried to say it was a mistake and kind of fudge around a little. And when we really dug deeper, they knew it didn't.
Really?
And there's some other integrity issues with that particular company. in my opinion and from my experience. And there are people out there now that offer just massive warranties. They'll say 30-year warranty. And I've literally heard the owner of the company say to my former husband on the phone, had no intention of being around to support that warranty.
Really?
I heard it with my own ears.
So they would say this stuff.
And that's just not the way we run business. So when we got this opportunity for Chanson 6 years ago, we made a major shift.
So why water? Like, why in the first place did you even start caring about water? I mean, a lot of our listeners care a lot about water, and they know more than the average person. But did you have any health concerns or anything that kind of opened your eyes to why water was so important? And
that is a fabulous question, because we were actually in the construction industry. We had our own construction company, and of course you do plumbing and things with that. My former husband had a 27-year background in health, had been a bodybuilder, was very interested, and his mother got lung cancer. And he really began to dive into alternative therapies. And through Tony Robbins, we heard about a doctor who talked about alkaline ionized water and really said that this is the first line of defense. This is the first thing you have to do. And we bought one. We began testing that one. And within a month, my husband said, we are changing businesses. People need this. Oh, really? I was like, hold the bus. My whole life, was just about to shift on a dime. And we were doing extremely well in construction. And so it was a radical life change.
So it was that important to him.
It was that important to him. And the irony for me was, in the very beginning, I did not believe in this. I thought water's water. Nothing can be different from one water to the next. Now, I couldn't have been more wrong, but
that's what many people think that.
I didn't know it at the time.
Crazy.
And for me, I had a knee injury for over 20 years. And I'd fallen in a parking lot, hit my knee, had terrible pain. I believed that I had arthritis. I honestly thought I was going to need a knee replacement surgery in my future. We'd moved to a 2-story house, and it just hurt all the time. And in about 30 days of drinking the water, I suddenly became aware of the fact that my pain was gone.
And it wasn't that you increased your intake, but it was the type of water, you think? Or maybe a little bit of both?
It was both, honestly, because I did not drink a lot of water prior to that. I had begun drinking a bottled water that I won't name that was $35 a case. Now, my husband didn't know what I was paying for that. And I was told that you could lose weight with this water, and I was willing to try it. And at the time, that water claimed to be alkaline. It's actually, they've taken that claim off now, and when we test it, and I've tested it multiple times over a period of years, it is literally the most acidic water that we've ever tested. So it couldn't be more worse for you, but I was willing to pay $35 a case. I actually talked to a customer who'd gotten some on sale. He bought 40 cases of it.
Oh my goodness. And now it's been tested to be acid when it says it's alkaline.
They've taken the words alkaline off, but every time we've tested it over a period of years, and we tested it for that man because he had a bottle when he was in a meeting with us, and his eyes just got huge. And we said, well, you have a great earthquake supply.
I know, right? That would be perfect maybe for the garden or something.
There you go. Wash your hands with it.
Give it to your dog. Wash your hands with it.
No, I wouldn't even give it to my dog. I really wouldn't.
Yeah, that's right.
So there's a reason they say don't drink the water when we're joking around about stuff. I mean, water is a big deal.
My brother just the other day on Facebook made this funny little comment, but it's just so reminiscent of times when we were a kid. He would say there was nothing that tasted better than running around in your neighborhood and drinking out of your neighbor's hose.
The hot hose in the summertime.
And he made a joke about how he's going to start putting rusty pennies in his water. You know what I mean?
to recreate that effect.
His childhood. But yeah, there's that subtle taste in water, and I suspect that would be just horrible to drink water from a hose, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that just be one of the worst things?
It's not great for you. No, tap water is federally regulated to be a 7 pH.
A 7, okay.
So in a lot of ways, some of these more expensive waters that you're buying, I can think of one. It would be Fiji.
I was going to ask you about
Fiji is, if you're going to buy a bottled water, it's a 7 on the pH scale. You know, I'm not a fan of the taste, but a lot of people like it. It's one of the most expensive out there. So you're getting the equivalent of tap water in regard to pH. I haven't tested it for contaminants or anything like that. But the contaminants that are allowed in our tap water is horrifying.
Yeah, can we talk a little bit about that? I don't think people know.
Okay, and this is going to blow your mind. The government can put stuff in our water or allow it to be in our water. But if we take it out with a filter, that filter is considered toxic waste.
That's incredible.
Now, where
does that line up, right?
I have some huge questions about that, don't you?
Yeah, it's like I just heard something. There was something that your body creates. I forget what the actual chemical of it was, but it's something that your body creates in your lungs and your pineal gland, I think, or somewhere in your brain. And if you were to extract that and have it in a vial, you'd be arrested for it.
It's an illegal
that kind of
substance.
thing.
It's so silly.
It's just the logic here does not make any sense. So what types of things are in
these what's filtered out of?
Yeah, what gets taken
water?
out?
Oh gosh, there are things I can't even pronounce. But one of my pet things about water is a study that I found that organically occurring arsenic in drinking water, in this particular study, is considered to be the leading cause of type 2 diabetes.
Really?
We say that again?
Organically occurring, so naturally occurring in tap water. Arsenic is considered to be the leading cause of type 2 diabetes. Now, I of course have an opinion that a lot of it has to do with diet, but we have sent bottled waters out for testing. We've sent the Irvine tap water out for testing, and they come back positive for arsenic.
Oh.
So I personally, we do pre-filter our water. We recommend pre-filters for our ionizers. We haven't really talked about ionizers yet. It's our main business because it's such an amazing product. What it does for people is just incredible. But pre-filtering is so important because...
So you mean pre-filter before you ionize it?
Correct.
Okay.
Because when you ionize, you're making the water molecule size smaller, and what we don't want to do is concentrate contaminants and drive them deeper into your cells.
So that would be almost kind of akin to maybe juicing or something like that. You're concentrating, or your supplements, you're hyper-concentrating things.
Right.
If you ionize it, you're going to get all the chemicals and things.
Now, you just reminded me about all your juicing. Did you get a chance to look at the part on our video about how the electrical charge can be reintroduced into your fruits and vegetables before you juice or before you put them in a salad, and how that can change even the flavor but also the nutrient value?
We haven't seen that part yet.
We're guilty. We haven't had the time to sit down.
Let me
yet.
just take a second.
Yeah, I want to know
please,
about that.
Listeners, it's on our list. Please.
By the way, can people get this video that you're talking about, this DVD?
They can. They can go to our website at chansonwater.com.
Okay.
And there's a section that has free gifts.
Okay.
And they can get that.
Awesome.
And
I just want to let people know that.
For free.
Section 2, yes. In Section 2 of the video, we do some testing, and we just discovered this by chance. We had an organic tomato grow in our backyard. I mean, the thing had tomatoes on it by the time we found it.
Yeah.
We were shocked. Bird probably pooped the seed out. We just really don't know how it got there.
Yeah.
And because we were so into testing everything, we know that our water has something called oxidation reduction potential. That's a negative charge that pulls toxins out of your body. Well, we use this same ORP meter to test a fresh tomato right off the vine.
Okay.
And it had ORP, which is an electrical charge.
Okay.
And something is going to have either negative or positive, and it's ironically the negative charge that's going to pull toxins out of your body.
Okay.
And so this wonderful, beautiful, fresh tomato had that charge.
Okay.
So that's exciting, great. And our water has that charge, and this tomato has that charge. And lo and behold, an hour later, when the same tomato was retested, the charge was gone.
Completely gone.
Completely gone.
Wow.
And so even if you're going to a farmer's market and you're buying that fresh vegetable and it's organic, it is very quickly losing its frequency that is helping to add to your nutrition.
So that's some sort of frequency that interacts with enzymes and helps our body electrically, probably in some way.
It does. It involves megahertz.
Okay.
But what we have found is that you can take a tomato and it can still have the stem on it, so there's not a pathway in through the water to get into that tomato. And you soak it in our water. You're going to wash it anyway. So rather than just wash it, let it be there a couple extra minutes. And when we retest, that charge is back. So in the morning, I sometimes juice, and sometimes I just throw everything in the blender, and I'm eating the whole thing.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm putting it in the alkaline ionized water before I juice, and I firmly believe that I'm adding benefit to it.
Isn't that wild? I wonder, so it must just come off the water somehow and get infused back into the produce or
We
something.
believe that it's donating electrons, and the whole process of ionization, we haven't really talked about that yet, but there's alkaline water and there's alkaline ionized water.
Okay.
And a lot of people don't understand that there's differences. These days you can buy alkaline water in the grocery store. They can have made that alkaline by putting a little bit of baking soda in it.
Yeah, right? Because that does that.
That can do that, but you're not getting that electrical charge. You're not getting that ionization. And what we do when we're ionizing is we're putting the electrical charge on, we're changing the molecular structure, but we're imitating what's happened in nature when water runs over rocks that have minerals in it.
I see. So they get the electrical charge from the minerals maybe in the rocks or something like that?
Well, picture the Boy Scout hitting the two rocks together to make a spark to start a fire. So if the rocks have the right minerals, and the reason they came to understand these things is when they were studying the Hunzas and the people in the Andes Mountains and the people that lived longer, and they were trying to find out what were the factors, and they found that they had this very unique water, and that it was high alkaline, and that it had this electrical charge to it. And so there's a long history of water ionization, even though it's been in the United States for quite a while now, since about the 90s.
Ionizers.
Right. Most people aren't familiar with them.
So you could have alkaline water and then alkaline water that's ionized. What about acidic water? Can you have acidic water that's ionized? Can you have that?
You can, and that's such a great question. So an ionizer makes 3 different types of water.
Okay.
One would be alkaline ionized that you can make at different levels, different settings. You can choose a different pH, for example, and you would start at a lower pH and build up drinking it, because your body needs to kind of get used to it. You don't want to start out too high. You can kind of have a detox reaction, actually. It also makes a filtered water. So if you're just about to take some time-released medications, you're going to want to choose that filtered setting on your ionizer, because the ionized water makes medications more powerful. And we've had doctors even say that they can reduce people's medications or even take them off of some medications. And we can maybe talk about that in a minute. But
we don't want to cut too far into the pharmaceutical company's profits there. But
that's
we want to make sure they make their money, too.
That's a dangerous thing. But the third type of water, as you mentioned, is the acidic water.
Okay.
And it can also be made at selected levels. And the reason the word acidic is there is because the pH scale is either acidic, base, or alkaline.
Okay.
And so while I hate the word acidic because it sounds like something dangerous.
It sounds bad, doesn't it?
It does sound bad.
It does.
Yeah.
Like
sounds like it's going to eat through you.
Yeah.
Right.
Like a metal.
Yeah.
You know?
But the interesting thing is, pardon me, that you can actually even put this in your eyes. If you had pink eye, you can put it in your eyes.
The acidic water.
The acidic water.
Okay.
You can put it on your skin. If you had fungus on your toes, you could put it on there. And we've seen people just be helped with using it like that. But our acidic water, all ionizers will make acidic water.
Oh, okay.
A lot of the different brands cannot make the extreme levels of the very high alkaline or the very acidic.
Most brands cannot do that.
Most brands cannot.
Okay.
Ours is able to do a broader range, so much so that hotels even buy our machines to put them in to replace the toxic cleaning chemicals. And they clean completely with a combination of, they either use our acidic water, or for like degreasing, they will use our high alkaline water. And
Interesting.
a hotel can save like $25,000 in 2 years, pardon me. But a family can save money. I know you guys are so interested in health. I know you're thinking about having a baby in the future. I personally don't want to go around spraying toxic chemicals in my home.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can clean, you can disinfect with the water that this machine is able to make. And here's something I'm very proud of. We've been third-party, independently lab tested and proven to be able to kill E. coli and staph on contact.
You're kidding me. With what version of the water?
The acidic water.
The acidic ionized water.
The acidic ionized water, and it's FDA approved to be able to be sprayed on food.
Wow.
It's completely safe. Now, you wouldn't want to drink it. You're not going to keel over dead if you did drink it, but it's not, I mean...
It's not beneficial for consumption.
Some people say, there's so much debate about what's the best water. Some people say the acid water is, more acidic water, like putting a lemon in it. But then once you put a lemon, doesn't that become alkaline in your body?
That's what I've been told.
Yeah,
and
that's what
I have heard that. I know when we test it, just the lemon in the water is acidic.
Acidic, yeah.
I am told your body converts it to alkaline.
That's what I've heard,
I don't
too.
have any proof on that.
How would you know that, That would be kind of hard to know, wouldn't it?
It would. I mean, honestly, if I'm in a restaurant and I can't stand the taste of the chlorine in their water, I'm going to have lemon in my water to block that taste.
And that's why they do that, right? They kind of put the lemon in there.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. I can hardly stand to drink restaurant water anymore.
Because they're not filtering. They're not doing anything.
Most of them aren't. Some are.
Yeah.
But, you get that water up to your nose. Once you've been tasting the good water, it's... You can feel the difference in your mouth. You can smell the difference. And
what is actually? Do we need to take a break? Yeah, actually, we should. We're going to take a little bit of break, but I wanted to ask you after the break, maybe about if you know anything about the hard water, the soft water. Is there? Yeah, maybe we can talk about that. We're just having a great time here. This is episode 285 with Nedalee Thomas from chansonwater.com. We're going to take a little bit of a break, and we'll be right back. I wanted to tell you about this really powerful and unique product called the Q Laser. Did you know there's over 2,500 peer-reviewed clinical research studies showing the benefits of low-level laser therapy on the body? We had Dr. Larry Lytle on episode 165 talking all about it. Dr. Lytle, what is the Q Laser?
The Q Laser is a light-delivering device, handheld, rechargeable, that is for lay people and professionals that works at the cell level of the body to restore energy. Since the body is all composed of cells and the cells are composed of atoms, it's good for any and everything in the body. It is especially beneficial for injuries. It will reduce swelling and inflammation before your eyes. Literally, you can have a sprained ankle and fly the laser, and within 30 minutes you can see that the swelling in the ankle has been reduced. Since all disease is inflammatory, you can assume that same process is working if you have some type of intestinal problem. We have pictures of using a heat instrument to diagnose the intestinal inflammation. We can show that intestinal inflammation is pretty much gone within 3 minutes using the Q1000 laser. It's the number one tool in your medicine cabinet. I have a saying, never leave home without your laser. I have had 3 serious burns, and each time I had my laser with me, I applied the laser immediately after I had the burn. I never even blistered.
Kate and I don't want to be without ours. We've worked out a special deal with Dr. Lytle for all of our listeners. If you'd like to learn more about how the Q Laser can dramatically improve your health, go to extremehealthradio.com/laser. Did you know that conventional dog food contains antibiotics, herbicides, pesticides, ground up carcasses from roadkill subjected to high heat processing, artificial colors, chemical preservatives, way too many carbohydrates, genetically modified corn syrups, indigestible grains, and a lack of moisture content in the dry kibble? Obviously, this can lead to health conditions like diabetes, itchy skin, teeth and gum problems, liver damage, obesity, behavioral issues, pancreatic problems, and even cancer. That's why we recommend the BARF diet, which is the biologically appropriate raw food diet from Barf World. Their unprocessed raw meats contain bone, organ meats, vitamins, and minerals that are loaded with enzymes. Barf World founder Robert Mueller explains more.
Sure, I don't have to convince you on the damage that's caused by high heat to food. So as a result, we see many skin disorders, a lot of arthritis, obesity, heart disease, cancers. I mean, it's just rampant. The vet clinics are just full of these conditions. And basically a large percentage of the commercial pet food that's is made up of the human industry leftovers. And the pet food industry makes use of this waste product. And in addition to that, we are subjected to the products coming out of the rendering plants. Garbage in, garbage out. If you feed garbage to your dog, you're going to end up with garbage health. You know, if you put the right gas in, your engine runs smoother and lasts longer. So if you put the right fuel in the tank, you're going to get the right output. Garbage in, garbage out.
We've seen an immense difference with our dog Maggie being on this diet. Give your dog the gift of health today by going to extremehealthradio.com/barf or go to our store. That's extremehealthradio.com/barf to learn even more.
100% listener supported. Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Don't forget to join our thriving community for health tips, inspiration, and show updates at extremehealthradio.com/Facebook.
All right, we're having a great time here. This is our first sort of in-studio
It's our first in-studio interview with a third microphone.
Yes, that's true.
We had Cherie Baum from That Hippie Mom come in, and you and I were like,
we're sharing
trained between the microphone. It was a little awkward. So.
But we just revamped the studio, and now we have a third mic, so we're all set, ready to go. This is pretty cool.
So much fun.
Thank you for being on and taking time out of your day for being here.
Well, thank you. It's
super
just my
fun.
pleasure, and your studio is just fabulous.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
So before the break, I think I mentioned something about hard and soft water. I know that when I remember taking my first experience with soft water was I was taking a train trip around the U.S. and I stayed with some family in New Jersey, and I took a shower, and I was in that shower, and I tell you, I could feel the water on my skin. It felt like I could never get it off.
It's like slippery, huh?
It's slippery. I felt like the soap would never leave my body. Is there any difference to hard and soft water in terms of ingesting hard and soft water?
You know, there is, and most of the United States is hard water.
Okay.
And a lot of the other parts of the world are soft water. I literally had never experienced soft water until a few years ago when my former husband had put a device on our home, and he said, go feel the water, go put your... And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, right, there's a difference.
Yeah.
I'm still stuck at this doubt.
Yeah.
And I put my hands under the faucet and could not believe the difference. But as far as ingesting... I think most of the known information would have more to do with your appliances and things like that.
Oh, okay.
It definitely can make a difference in your skin and your hair.
Being the soft, you mean?
Well, the soft or the hard is going to make a difference. Whether it's a positive or negative difference would depend on which we're talking about.
Right.
But which is why we do sell shower filters, to get out that chlorine, can make a huge difference in your hair. We sell an organic water conditioner that instead of the salt, which is being banned in many communities, or the potassium, which is also not healthy, and those require back flushing and everything else, we have one that only needs attention every 5 years, other than a pre-filter being replaced every 9 months.
Okay.
But as far as your health, because there's so much calcium in, quote, hard water.
Yeah, that's what it is, right?
One of the things that we recommend for people in those areas is we sell a magnesium filter. Oh. If you go to the hospital with a heart attack, 100% of the heart attack victims will be given magnesium immediately. So that means they're deficient.
Okay.
And since you're so into health, I'm sure that you need a balance of magnesium and calcium to absorb either one. So since you're getting so much calcium in your drinking water in hard water areas, why not add something so that it can be beneficial to you rather than just being excreted out?
Yeah.
Now, can it cause problems like maybe kidney stones and things like that? Potentially, but I'm not an expert in that area to advise.
Yeah, we've heard a lot about that, about how the calcium gets stuck in your joints and in your heart arteries. And we just talked to Kate Rayon Blue. Is that how you say her name?
Yeah.
And she talked about how vitamin K2 actually helps to strip out the calcium that gets built in your arteries and things. And so that was interesting. Yeah, I've never been a fan of the hard water. It feels good because you feel like you get clean. You know, you don't feel that slippery feeling. But I'll
tell you, your hair feels stripped though.
I know it does, doesn't it?
Your hair and your skin, the pH. I don't know if it's a pH thing, but you just feel like it feels good when you're in there, but you feel sucked dry when you get out. That's how I feel. But
so when you have one of your shower filters and you wash your hair and wash your skin, what is it filtering out?
Primarily chlorine.
Okay.
It's primarily dealing with chlorine, and it is conditioning the water a little bit. There's a slight ionization put on it. My daughter Christina, who you mentioned earlier, lives over in San Bernardino County, which has some of the worst water in California.
I remember you saying that.
And she said her hair is just a nightmare until she put our shower filter on.
Oh.
And she said she's got pictures somewhere on one of her blogs of the before and after of her hair. And she said she couldn't even keep color in her hair, and it just
stripped it on out.
And she loves the difference that the spa shower filter has made for her.
Yeah, we've heard with municipal water, we've heard things like pharmaceutical residues.
Correct.
Even... what is the other one? The chemotherapy, radiation, or people excreting that. And so what do? They take the water and then they do their own filtering process and pump it back to us? Is that...
Communities?
Yeah.
Well, actually here, we're in South Orange County, but up in North Orange County a few years ago, they instituted a new program. There's reclaimed water all over the county, and they water plants with it.
Okay. Right, they'll have the freeway sprinkler saying, don't drink reclaimed water.
I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
I had a huge problem when North Orange County's plan was to reclaim water and go from the toilet to the tap in 3 days.
Oh, my goodness.
And
that can't be good.
I'm sure we weren't the only county to do that, right? I'm sure
correct.
All across
there are
America.
others that have followed suit. And I know for me personally, I want as many barriers between myself and that water as possible.
And time. 3 days is
3 days isn't...
Oh, my goodness. So it's from toilet to tap is what they said, 3 days.
In 3 days. And, they're... they're skimming out the... What's a good word for it? The chunks?
Sewage.
And thank you. Yeah. And they have a reverse osmosis process, and they have a UV process. But reverse osmosis in of itself. Let me take you back for just a second and talk. We mentioned the pH scale before.
Yes.
It's logarithmic, which is like the Richter scale.
Okay.
The difference between 1 point is 10 times.
Okay.
So the difference between 2 points is 10 times 10, so
not
100.
20, not 20, yeah.
And the difference in 3 points is 10 times 10 times 10, which is 1,000.
Okay.
So where tap water is federally regulated to be a 7, whether you're drinking reverse osmosis water, which many of the bottled waters are tap water that's been reverse osmosis, or if you're drinking Sprite, you're getting something that is about a 4 pH. So with that logarithmic scale, that is about 1,000 times more acidic than tap water. Now, why is that important? It's important because your blood has to be approximately a 7.365 pH to a 7.4 pH, or you will die. And your saliva can be acidic, your urine can be acidic, but your blood is going to stay that pH or else. And what it will do is rob magnesium from your eyes, calcium from your bones, to buffer from that acidity that you've just intentionally introduced to your body, maybe unknowingly.
Wow. So that's why you see a lot of people now. I mean, it seems like such a modern thing where people are having all these issues with osteoporosis, right? And things like that.
And I'm not good at pronouncing this, but macular degeneration.
My mom has that.
My grandmother has it. One of the ladies at my church has it. I'm praying for both of them. But it's heartbreaking to see these people going blind with something that can potentially be prevented. And I wish I still had the article, but it was in Reader's Digest quite a number of years ago, within the last 8 years, about alkalinity helping to prevent macular degeneration.
Wow. Helping to prevent. So that would mean that would you have to drink that for a long time, I guess, in prevention, for your whole life?
Well, I don't know the answer to that. And of course, there are multiple ways to become alkaline. One way would be through raw fruits and vegetables. Not everybody's going to fully embrace like a raw diet or a vegan diet. And so one of the things that I find is that introducing the water into your life is just a great way to make that change. I did not drink a lot of water prior to, having a water ionizer. You begin to crave that water. And I will drink maybe 2 sodas a year, and as soon as it hits my mouth, I'm like, why did I do this? It's too sweet. It's too,
fizzy and all that.
It's kind of repulsive now.
Yeah.
Whereas I had no problem drinking soda before.
Oh my gosh. I just saw an article the other day. It had to do with this girl who was 5 years old, and she had drank, I don't know how they know this, but it was going around like a viral article thing, and she had drank 1,400 sodas. She was 5 years old. Can you imagine the amount of...
Wow.
I mean, God knows what else is in the high fructose corn syrup and the genetically modified sweeteners and all this other stuff, but just the fact that it's so acidic. I mean, could you imagine? I don't know how she's alive.
Horrifically acidic. And ironically, on the drive here, I heard a new commercial, and it was for Pepsi, and they were talking about made with real sugar. And it was making me think of William Duffy's book, Sugar Blues. Have you ever read that?
No.
Oh, my goodness. It's an amazing book.
Sugar Blues.
Sugar Blues. And it says that the average American, and this was written 20 years ago, so I'm sure that the averages have shifted dramatically.
Yeah.
Ingests 100 pounds of sugar a year. And there's hidden sugar in canned corn has added sugar in it.
Canned corn?
Cigarettes have added sugar in it.
Cigarettes.
And if you have sugar, it depresses your immune system for up to 6 hours.
After consuming like a chocolate bar or something like that.
So that's people that eat sugar across the board all day long are repressed the whole time. I mean, they're never out of that cycle.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's a vicious cycle.
I can't imagine people are still alive. 100 pounds of sugar in a year. That's almost a person.
And I think the exact number was more like 110.
Oh,
but
my gosh.
I imagine that has increased dramatically
sure.
over the years.
I'm sure. It's amazing what the human body is able to endure,
So when you were, speaking of that, when you were talking about the type 2 diabetes and the water, that's obviously a sugar problem, right, with diabetics. So do you know how the water actually goes about helping those diseases? I mean, what is it doing to...
Well, we haven't really... we were talking about that on the break, so I'll
let's talk about that.
Introduce that a little bit. I have to tell you, first of all, that only in our nation, only drugs are allowed to cure, treat, or prevent illness.
Right.
So I can tell you about some of our experiences and our testimonials. I cannot imply to you that it would do that for everybody.
Right.
I can tell you that we have had doctors say that they are able to either reduce or take people off of certain medications from drinking the alkaline ionized water. And the specific ones that come up a lot are type 2 diabetes, osteoarthritis, high cholesterol, and high blood pressure. And there are a lot of other things that the water are known for helping, like asthma. And in the beginning, when we first got into this, and I would hear that it would help all these different things, I was baffled.
Yeah.
And because I'm a Christian woman, I don't want to say anything that isn't true.
Right.
I really couldn't go around saying that stuff. It was so broad, all the things that it, quote, supposedly helped.
Yeah.
And what I've learned over the years is each one of the things that we wind up hearing testimonials about all have a root in inflammation.
Okay.
And the water has a lot of antioxidant type properties, and we know that antioxidants help with inflammation. So those are kind of the correlations that I can find. And we think that rather than the water, quote, doing it, we think that it's just helping your body to balance itself, and that your body's doing the work.
Yeah, your body wants to be healthy, right? I mean,
correct.
And if you give it what it wants, then it's going to be able to do its job.
Well, every guest we have on would say that this stuff just aids in relieving the stress on the body so the body can do what it's made to do. It's miraculous.
And that's such a great way of putting that,
It's true,
But it's such a fun industry to be in, to hear the testimonials that come in and the people that are just so thrilled and their lives are changed. And now, my product is an expensive product. Okay, you're making an investment to buy this. It's essentially a computerized piece of equipment. You're paying about what you would buy to get a computer. Now, wouldn't you think, how many returns, what kind of a return rate do you think that we would have on people changing their mind and sending it back, or it not working, or just take a guess?
Gosh, I would have no idea.
Maybe 1 out of every 10.
1 out of every 10. Okay.
That's my guess.
Even 1 out of 100 wouldn't be bad. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great.
We have had less than 20 returns in 8 years.
Wow.
We have a generous return policy. They have 60 days that they can return it. And I believe that people just instinctively know, even if they can't feel a specific difference, they instinctively know it's helping some way. And that's the only way I can explain it, because it's just baffling to me.
Yeah, because I was thinking that number would be, I was thinking 1 out of 10 maybe, because a lot of people be like, oh, it still tastes like water, or, like.
And it does. It tastes
but you're
like
right.
water.
Something must be going on instinctively where it makes sense of what they've learned and what they know to be true, that they just feel like it's adding to, it's not hurting, it's helping. It has to be helping.
I'm sure a lot of people, too, probably drink the water, and some people, depending on how clean they are and how cleansed out they are, some people are probably more intuitive and can feel it more, and some people, like I'm sure my brother, who likes to drink the hose water or drink water with rusty pennies in it, I'm sure he wouldn't probably taste any difference, but a lot of people would.
Sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes the really, really healthy people don't feel a difference.
Oh, that's true,
but I'll tell you something interesting. We have people call us and send us videos and things, even of their pets. Their cats love to drink the water straight out of the ionizer stream. Absolutely love it.
Wow.
I had somebody send us a before and after picture of their parrot. They had a very expensive Eclectus parrot. They said for about 3 years, this thing, their description was it looked like a lawnmower had run over it. It had missing feathers and everything. And on the water, this parrot regrew its feathers and just is beautiful.
Wow. And so this is this would have been the alkaline ionized water that this parrot, is that correct?
Correct.
Alkaline. Okay, so what you want to do, if someone were looking to buy one of these things from you, they would want to filter the water.
Correct.
And then how does it get alkalinized? I guess the ionizer would actually do the alkalizing, or the turning it acidic. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
It just hooks straight up to your tap. It's very simple to hook up.
Okay.
And you turn on the water, you push a button, and you do wait a little bit as it goes through its process and begins to come out. And you just add that to your lifestyle. And if you're going to drink coffee, you make the coffee with it. People say it makes the coffee taste better. Adds more flavor to it. And you will just find that you begin to really crave it and want to drink more. Now, the recommended amount to drink is 1/2 ounce per pound of body weight. So a 200-pound person would want to drink 100 ounces of water. And they say it's great to get up first thing in the morning and drink a glass standing right there at the ionizer. Now, the electrical charge will last about 12 to 24 hours.
Okay.
This is why this stuff cannot be bottled. You can find alkaline water in the grocery stores. They've added some minerals to change the water. It's not the same as alkaline ionized. Alkaline ionized water, or a water ionizer, is considered a medical device in some countries. And they've actually been registered since the 60s. And there's a long history of medical studies on this. There is not the long history of medical studies on the chemical alteration that is done for something that's now out there called a non-electric ionizer. You can buy something that'll give you a pH and a little bit of an ORP, and it looks like you're comparing apples to apples. But when we look at the difference in the medical testing, what little has been done on the non-electrics, you don't see the same differences. And interestingly enough, Chanson hired a company in Zurich, Switzerland. They've been studying water for 25 years. They've been studying our water for 2 years, and they're have another year to go, but they're photographing the water. And one of the fascinating things is when they photographed Swiss tap water and they magnified it hundreds of times, it kind of looks like it has holes in it.
Okay.
And then when you look at a picture of the alkaline ionized water, it looks like a beautiful fern. And I think I showed you some of those pictures.
I was going to say, in your building, when we came to your...
You could see the remarkable difference in the waters.
Oh, yeah.
And then the acidic water has a picture that looks maybe like it has some sharp edges on it, maybe like a piece of frost that's been a picture taken of. Wow. But interestingly enough, the non-electric ionizer, that water that has been changed through chemical alteration of adding some minerals or some tourmalines and things like that, it looks very much in structure like the acidic water. And if you think back to the pictures I showed you, they look almost identical, even though the pH and the ORP is very similar to what comes out of an...
Isn't that wild? What a weird distinction.
It is. And if it's helpful to your listeners and you want them for the website, I can get you copies.
I would love that. We could put those pictures on this show page.
Yes,
so
that's what I was thinking.
We need to take a little bit of a break, but fascinating stuff. So interesting. All I know is we all need to drink more water, that's for sure. And we all need to drink good water, good high-quality water. So this is...
Not Rusty Penny water.
not Rusty Hose water. This is awesome information. This is episode, let me make sure I get this correct.
285.
285, and we're with Nedalee Thomas from chansonwater.com, episode 285. And we'll be right back right after this break. I have to say, I have been absolutely loving this product by Tristan Truscott and Peter Ragnar called Good Morning, Good Evening Qigong. If you want to listen to the interview we did with Tristan, you can go to extremehealthradio.com/127. And Qigong is a great way to de-stress the body. And as you know, there's a huge component to disease caused by stress. And stress is a huge factor in how we live our lives and the amount of energy we have and the amount of vitality we have. And so, Dr. Shade, what do you think about Qigong?
People come to me and they're really sick and they got this blown out neurological system and all this toxicity. And I tell them, you need to do Qigong, Tai Chi. You need to do these things that settle down and restore your neurology, because it puts together all the parts. It puts you back into that state where you can start to detoxify. And so I highly, highly recommend all that.
And what about you, Kit Campbell? What do you think about Qigong? Do you like it as well?
Qigong is amazing. And the reason that I believe it to be amazing is everything here is energy. That is a scientific fact, if there ever is one. So when you're practicing Qigong, you're actually drawing energy into your body. Your intention, whatever your intention is behind any action, will determine the level of energy, type of energy that you absorb into your body. So your intention behind is very important, just like thought. So when you're practicing Qigong, you're actually bringing energy in and you're bringing out the stuff that might be a bit stale. With Tai Chi, it's totally different. The energy runs underneath the skin because it's more of a martial. This is the Chinese understanding, by the way. It's more of a martial art. So Qigong is very, very good for bringing that energy into the body, and just fantastic.
If you're interested in picking up this Qigong course by Tristan Truscott and Peter Ragnar, go to extremehealthradio.com/Qigong. That's QIGONG. And you can learn more about it. There's a great video on that page, and you can learn more about it on that page. And I highly, highly recommend this product. I love it myself. So go ahead and check that out. extremehealthradio.com/Qigong. If you are currently using any hair care products that contain dyes or colorings, these things can be carcinogenic. You see, anything we put on our skin, even in the shower, gets into our bloodstream and causes a toxic overload to our organs over time. That's why we only recommend Morocco Method hair care products, because they're 100% chemical free, 100% organic, raw, vegan, and even wild crafted and picked according to the lunar cycles. Listen to what our guest Anthony Morocco says about foaming agents in the shampoos.
Well, number one with hair care is the sodium lauryl sulfate, which is the foaming agent, which is really carcinogenic and it's very, very toxic. So that's number one. And so they're so afraid of it. The industry has made 38 different names for it. They've created cocamide, they've created coconut, they've created palm oil. But anything that foams is sodium lauryl sulfate. So I would say that you really need to read your ingredient lists. And if you cannot pronounce the word, it's made in a laboratory.
So would even organic hair care products that foam, would those be damaging as well?
Yes. Organic really today is not what it used to be. So it's just the word. It really, to me, is not reality. If you want a real product, you want to look at wild craft.
As a former hairstylist, I love Anthony's products. If you'd like to have truly healthy and luxurious hair, no matter what your texture, go to extremehealthradio.com/MM for Morocco Method or see it in our store. Again, that's extremehealthradio.com/MM to learn even more.
All free shows, all the time on Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Join our community today. Sign up to our email list and instantly get our free gift to you, along with loads of inspirational content and cutting-edge tips to help change your life at extremehealthradio.com/subscribe.
So speaking of Maggie, I wanted to ask you, I'm sure you've heard a lot of people talk about them using it on their dogs, right? Mm-hmm. And the alkaline, I'm sorry.
Did you mute her?
I muted all of us, and I forgot to unmute everybody. But yeah, so for our little furry ones, they should be drinking this high-quality water. I imagine it would prolong their life and improve their digestion.
And do they have the same pH requirements in their blood as humans, or is it different? Do you know?
That's a great question. I don't know the answer, but I do know that if you give a dog two choices of water, they will go to the alkaline ionized water.
They will.
And here's something wonderful. You can use the acidic water to spray on the dog it will help remove odors. It can remove odors from their bedding. And my father-in-law had blood all over his house from an injury to his dog. They had brand new carpet, and they used it to clean the carpet. So it has multiple uses. I had a dog that she got a skin cancer on her shoulder, and she lived about 17 months. I would clean that wound. It was kind of an open wound, and it just would never heal. Wow. And I would clean it with the acid water, and it helped her a lot. I felt like it prolonged her life, and she didn't seem to be in a lot of pain with the cancer. It just needed to be taken care of.
That's so insane when you think it's just water can do so much. Because I remember when we were coming up to your office to visit, and I remember you saying that about the blood. And I think was it you who said that maybe even red wine and things out of carpet? I mean, it will take. Were we talking to you about that?
I don't think you were.
It probably wasn't.
But I've seen it do great things. I had a staff member that went out to lunch and came back with her white pants covered in dark chocolate.
Oh, that's right.
That was
and
it.
the high alkaline water took that right out. And then I had the same thing where I had a brand new blouse and looked down, and I've got chocolate all over it, and I'm thinking, it's brand new.
You just got it.
And remember that high alkaline water? Now, the high alkaline water can be used even on something like a sprain. So that's a radically different thing than a stain.
Yeah.
You wouldn't drink that high alkaline water, but it can give temporary pain relief.
So what would you do? Take on the ionizer itself, you would switch it to that very high alkalinity and take some of that?
And put the water on a rag. I did it recently, actually, and it was one of my staff members that reminded me. My yoga teacher had talked about how great handstands were for improving your arms, so I gave it a try. And sprained my wrist. Yes, it was an
Sounds like me.
And I was whining around about how much I hurt, and my staff member said, well, put the water on it. And I'm like, well, I should have had a VA. Of course I should have thought of that.
Yeah.
And it really definitely helped. And we've seen it many times where we have groups and we, in a class, we'll say, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, rate your pain. And we'll give them the rag, they'll put it on. And then when 10 minutes has passed or something and we think to ask them again and they rate it again, they will either say it's gone or it's significantly reduced.
Wow.
I know we were talking a little bit at the commercial, you and I, about what do you think any of the placebo effect comes into play here, or do you how do you think that works?
That's a great question, and that's always a possibility. But what I like to say is you cannot have a placebo effect with animals. And we have a study on our website. It's a 5-year dairy cow study that was done on multiple, I don't know what you call it when you have a dairy cows. It's probably not a ranch.
A herd.
Farm,
yeah, sure.
And it was done over multiple groups of cattle. And over 5 years, they found that they had less stillbirths. They had less bone breakages. They had less udder problems. They had healthier babies. They produced more milk.
More milk.
There's another study that was done. They put 10,000 chickens in one barn and 10,000 chickens in another barn. The only difference they were given was water. And the chickens in the barn with the alkaline ionized water had a lower mortality rate. And, it's just fascinating. And the studies were very distinct. There's a study that's been done on rats with cancer tumors. They were intentionally given cancer, and the tumors are smaller and grow at a slower rate in the ones that the only difference is drinking the water. So
same diet and same
diet,
everything.
Absolute same diet on all of these.
And so the tumors actually grew at a slower rate.
At a slower rate.
Isn't that
so, would you like to hear about some more of my experiences with my personal?
I was just going to ask you about that, because I know you shared some of those while we're at your
this is fascinating.
facility.
Okay, so I told you about my knee. I wore eyeglasses for 28 years, and I don't now. I'm not going to say it's because of the water. I had LASIK surgery. But in the first 4 years of drinking the water, when I was still wearing glasses, the very first time I went in for a eyeglasses, to my
exam.
checkup, I only went every 2 years. They said, somebody made a mistake and made your prescription too strong. We're going to reduce your prescription. I said, great. I had a suspicion it was the water, but I certainly wasn't sure. 2 years later, I go back to the same doctor, and lo and behold, they reduced my prescription again.
Really?
And that has happened to people in my office. And so, of course, we theorize. We can't, fully believe.
No studies, but
that it can help with the eyes. Now, even after I had my LASIK surgery, I had great vision. It was wonderful. And I was remodeling my home. And I was spending more time at home than I was at the office. And I kept telling the contractor for 4 months, put my ionizer in. And I have learned, stop paying people to not do what you're telling them to do.
I know, right?
Because my vision took a huge dive when I was not drinking the water. And I didn't want to go and just have the LASIKs redone right away. I wanted to get back to drinking the water, let my vision stabilize.
So you were seeing more blurry and different.
Correct.
Wow.
And that was from 4 months of not drinking nearly as much of the water. Then the other thing that it dramatically helped me with is I used to not eat till 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And I know you're not supposed to do that. It's a terrible thing to do.
I just couldn't do it. I was like,
and you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But all of my energy would go to digestion, and I would crash. I would absolutely crash.
Wow.
And once I began drinking the water, that problem left. And again, you think, okay, well, maybe I aged out of it, or this is different, or that is different.
You always try to explain it away.
Oh, always.
Yeah.
Always. And lo and behold, when I travel and I'm away from the water, the problem comes back.
Isn't that so? What did it do? You were able to not eat until 2 or 3, and then
It was about 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and this had nothing to do with the water. This is when I was not drinking the water.
Okay.
Prior to learning about alkaline ionized water, I couldn't eat because I would lose all my energy if I did.
Oh, you would sort of crash or something
Correct.
like that. I
Correct.
see.
So the water helps me not have that problem.
Wow.
And again, during that 4-month period of the remodel on my home, little knee pain started creeping back in, where I had not had it in all those years.
Interesting.
And so got back on the water, and my knee is back being pain-free. My digestion is great. It is also known for helping with different digestive issues.
Yeah, I was going to say it helps. Maybe because it's ionized. You know how I was thinking about with the eyes for the ionization, because the eyes, the capillaries, and the blood vessels are so small going into the eyes that when you reduce the molecular size through the ionization process, it makes sense that it would somehow get transported through the blood into those tiny little capillaries and blood vessels to the eyes. I mean, it seems to make sense.
We do know for a fact that the water molecule size is smaller. And usually a water cluster, I'm blanking right now on the exact number, but we take it down to about a 5 to a 7 molecules in the cluster.
5 to 7 molecules in the cluster.
And you also saw in the picture the difference between the tap water that kind of had the holes in it. So picture pushing something with your fingers wide open. Things would seep through the cracks in your finger. But if you push something with your fingers closed, you're going to successfully push more in. So we believe that our water makes nutrients more bioavailable. And we believe that our pictures that we're going to post on your website are going to show why it makes it more bioavailable.
And so the crazy thing is it's able to do this from municipal tap water, which is pretty amazing. But they do some filtering. Obviously, what they do is not anywhere near what you want to ingest. But it is. They claim you can drink it, and people do drink it. But so what we're talking about is going a step further and ionizing it and alkalinizing it. Would someone want to always drink alkaline water, or would they want to cycle off and kind of go back and forth from acidic to alkaline? Or is there
a good question?
No, you would not want to drink acidic, but I do vary my levels that I drink. I'll drink an 8 one day, and then I'll drink a 9.5 another day.
Okay.
You talking about the municipal tap water for just a second. I know that you know the dangers of fluoride. I mean, that is something they intentionally put in the water.
We've heard that.
That's horrible for us. You know about the chlorine. You know it causes cancer. You probably know about chloramines. Chloramine is ammonia and chlorine.
Yes.
Ammonia. Do you want to drink ammonia, Kate?
Well, I know I do.
It's got a really great
Why wouldn't
aftertaste.
you?
You just woke up this morning going, yes, give me.
I had an ammonia smoothie. It was fabulous.
So many of these homes now, new homes, that they're pumping this water into, the pipes are bursting. They're having these slab leaks.
Well, I have to say, this whole development up here on the hill, which is 10, 12 years old, some of our friends have had houses for 8 years, and they're already having to repipe the house.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
8 years.
Okay, but that's your home. What about your body?
Right.
I do not want that in my body.
You can't repipe your body.
Yeah, you can't repipe your pipes.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you the truth. We highly recommend pre-filtration, which we sell.
Okay.
And we recommend ionization.
Okay.
Most of our people buy both. If somebody could just choose one, honest to goodness, I'd go for the ionizer over the pre-filter.
Really?
I would, yeah.
Yeah.
I would, because I so know that I know what it does for your body.
Wow.
And it has a filter on board. It is going to remove some chlorine. It is going to remove some contaminants. It's not going to remove as much as we want, but
it's getting you in the right direction.
And I have people that call me about whole house filters, and they're wanting to get the chlorine out of their shower, and now they're drinking water, and I say, yeah, but if you have to choose between one, please.
What's going into your body?
Yeah, we're all about health at Chanson Water.
Yeah, I think that it's really important to really take into consideration what goes in your water and putting some intention into fixing this, because I was looking at some information that you brought over what is it? 35%. Our livers are 35% water. Our bones are like 40% water.
Our bones are 35. Our
Wow.
brain is like 85.
I mean, this is all. It's crazy.
So do you know that if you're tired and you're having that afternoon kind of little sludge thing, if you take a sip of water, the first place it hydrates is your brain. And if you are dehydrated 1%, they have done studies that it will reduce sports performance by 5%. Well, think of businesses.
Yeah.
Think of you're paying an employee and they're sitting there drinking a soda or a Monster or
coffee,
you know, something that's dehydrating them. You're actually going to get better performance out of them if you pay to have an ionizer in that office and people are drinking that. They're going to have more energy. They're going to think better. They're going to be more focused.
Well, the other thing that we didn't really talk about too much is the plastics. I know we have to cut the show short, but is the plastics, because a lot of people are getting, like, the Fiji water comes in plastic. And so you wonder, there's always a trade-off. You know, if you assume the Fiji water is the healthiest thing on the planet, if you were just to make that assumption, you're still got it in plastic, and so that's
and then
that's
you're getting
huge,
the estrogen problem, right? It's leaching
so
things.
It's going to be leaching, and so you know, if you were to filter your water at the tap, at least you're avoiding the whole plastic issue too, unless you bottle it in your own plastic or something. But that's another great thing, I think.
There are containers that you can buy and just, you know, carry your BPA-free containers and or a glass container to carry water in. I would warn you that with alkaline ionized water, if you put it in a metal container, you're going to lose that electrical charge immediately.
Oh, you will?
So that's something that most people don't know. That's something that we learned from our own testing.
So the metal is actually sucking out the charge. I mean, it just, on contact, is...
It just neutralizes the charge.
Literally, immediately.
I would never know
amazing.
that.
That's so interesting with the ionizing, because I just think it makes so much sense, because you're basically mimicking nature with the electrical charge coming off the rocks and the minerals there, and then reducing the molecular size. If someone were to go to a fresh spring or something like that, that's probably, it would be
as
perfect
close as
pH, and it would be ionized at the source. Maybe.
I don't know that a natural spring would necessarily be the perfect pH, because you have to look at contaminants are worldwide. They've done tests on icebergs and glaciers, and because a cloud will float with, let's say it got a contaminant from some New Jersey industry
Fukushima
thing, and it floated hundreds of miles. I mean, here in
Fukushima.
California, we are very contaminated with the stuff from Fukushima. And we would love to have our head in the clouds or the sand and pretend like that's not affecting us. But it has been tested that it is here. It is on our shores, and we do have that contamination. So you go to a stream that's near something that's been contaminated, and that contamination will be there.
It's a toxic world, yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming by. This has been so much fun.
If people are interested, obviously, in getting some of these amazing products that you sell for their homes, they can go to your website, and can they call up, obviously, and talk to someone about their specific needs?
Absolutely. We have staff. We're all about educating. We'll always help people get into the least expensive solution that meets their need. And we just really want to help people.
And if people want to get something for their apartment or something like that, and they can always take these things with them if they move into another apartment or a home or something, right?
That is a great question. We have countertop ionizers. And it just hooks right to your tap. You just unscrew that little diverter, or not diverter, the aerator. You screw a diverter onto it, you plug the machine in, and you're good to go.
Good.
Don't tell Justin that. He'll be traveling with it in his suitcase, I'm sure.
I know.
You get so excited about things, you're like, if it can come off, I'll take it with me.
Have to be careful, because the government, if you're going through the airlines, I remember taking all I took was a replacement filter.
Oh, no.
And they thought it was a bomb. So I had a very interesting experience that day.
Oh, my gosh. Wow. How do they think?
We've been joking lately about traveling with our new laser, our Q laser, and we're like, what would they wouldn't even know what to do with that, you know?
Bomb,
We're for sure going to laser in people's eyes and down the plane or whatever.
Oh, my goodness.
Good night.
Wow. Okay, so your website, we got to get out of here, Kate.
ChansonWater.com.
ChansonWater.com. ChansonWater.com.
Yep.
and they can find out more and look at all the different devices, and then they can call you guys and get their questions answered that way.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Just good
Nedalee,
stuff.
this was so fun.
Yeah, thanks for coming
You
on.
are the most informative, packed woman.
Well, I
I'm just
appreciate that.
very, very impressed. And your facility, I have to say, for anyone, do you have people, if they're in the area, stop by and kind of check it out?
Oh,
or?
yes. We'd love to share the water. They can come by and get it for free for 2 weeks.
Oh, so cool.
It is just a really beautiful building, and I told Nedalee this, Justin, when we went into it. When I walked into your building, I honestly felt like I was enveloped in a giant warm hug. It wasn't this sterile, when you think water and a water facility and there's this warehouse, you don't think that you're going to walk into what feels like a cozy bed and breakfast. That's how I felt. Mm-hmm. And you just exude warmth and a lot of love. So you guys have a neat thing going on.
That blesses me so much.
I'm so
Thank
glad.
you.
No, it's honest. So thanks for coming down today.
Appreciate it. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
thank you so much.
Oh, I'm happy to be here.
Well, there you have it. Another show with Nedalee Thomas. That was pretty cool, huh?
That was another show with her.
Another show in the books.
Another show in the book.
I know. That was really cool, wasn't it?
She's so lovely.
That was fun to have her in studio.
So fun.
Yeah.
She's such a great human being.
Yeah, she knows her stuff. That's for sure.
She knows her stuff.
Yeah, interesting stuff about the ionization of water. We didn't ask her too much about, what is that word? Reverse osmosis.
Oh, yeah, we didn't, did we?
But I heard from, what is her name? Dr. Hulda Clark.
Oh, yeah.
She talked about how the reverse osmosis in most filters, there's an issue with that because it clogs up. It'll clog up with the debris that it filters out and eventually starts growing mold. And so there's only a couple reverse osmosis filters that actually work really well, according to her. But Hulda Clark is no longer with us. She passed away a few years ago. But that's what she said about reverse osmosis. And I don't really know the difference. I understand ionization a little bit more, but I don't understand what reverse osmosis is. But
I don't either.
But the alkaline, so it sounds like Nedalee is not a fan of ingesting acid water.
Yeah, no. But using it for other purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I guess if you put lemon, that's acid. And that's a healthy thing to do.
That was interesting that you brought that up. Like, who really knows what happens when it goes in your body? We're assuming that it does what you said, but
yeah,
who
because they
knows?
say that once you ingest the lemon, it converts it to being alkaline. But, I mean, I'm sure they've done tests on that, but how do you really know that? Water is such a fascinating subject, isn't it? There's so many details to it.
It's so intricate. Is that a good word?
Yeah, we didn't even talk about
Intricate?
water being a carrier of information or holding frequencies or anything like that. We didn't even get into that. But,
Whole other show.
yeah, it's a whole other show. Yeah.
We've had so many people talking about water. It's just like the never-ending subject. Mm-hmm. Who knew? Who knew?
Yeah.
Like she was saying at the beginning, I mean, most people, like myself, I mean, you think water's water.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of if you can get it at the source, and if you're able to test it, I think getting spring water is the ultimate tool. I think that's the number one thing. But if you can't get spring water, here's the thing: you're either stuck with what they call what is that water? Dasani.
Dasani, yeah.
And that's made by Coca-Cola, right?
I believe it is.
So there's going to be a low level of consciousness in that. But there's what's the other water? Oh, Evian.
Oh, Evian.
Yeah, and that isn't that naive backwards?
It is. Naive.
Yeah. Isn't that funny?
I know. Thanks to Reality Bites. One of the best movies of all time.
Is that what they say? Yeah. Really?
They're going to get a bunch of munchy stuff at like midnight in a gas station, and Jane Garofalo is laughing so hard, going, do you guys know that Evian is naive, spelled backward?
Really?
Laughing.
That's funny.
I know.
So you're either stuck with something that's filtered, because if you get bottled water, a lot of tests have shown recently that a lot of the bottled water, the original source is municipal tap water. So essentially, like if you get an Evian or something like that, most likely it's going to be coming from a municipal source.
So what do they call it? Purified drinking water?
It's just purified water, and then it sits in plastic on top of that. So it's really no different than drinking if you actually are the one to filter the water and ionize it and turn it alkaline. So it's really no different, except for the fact that you can control what machine you get.
That makes sense.
And
I like the fact that you can do that, though, that you have different
settings
on the machine.
And then you can also control whether or not you do acid alkaline, which is pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
And the water that's going to be, even if it's alkaline, like in the stores, it's not going to be ionized. Because what does she say? It loses its charge within 24 hours?
I think that's right. Yeah, within 24 hours.
So that's pretty interesting.
24 hours. I think you're right.
Yeah.
18 to 24 hours, did she say?
Yeah, you know who was a big fan of this? Remember, what was his name? Dr. We just had him
on our show?
Yeah, we just had him on. He was from up in Seattle, and he was going to move because of Fukushima.
Oh, yeah. Why am I blanking on his name? I'll look it up. I loved him. Why am I forgetting?
Yeah, what was his name? He talks about the 4 pillars of health.
John Apsley.
There you go.
Woohoo.
Look at that.
Of course it is.
Yeah, John Apsley. What episode was he, do you know?
He was episode 266.
Okay, we'll put a link to his show. We talked a lot about water on his show, John Apsley, Dr. Apsley. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to filter water, and I think what we're going to do is we are going to enter into a relationship with this company, Chanson Water.
Yeah.
We went there and spent, how long did we spend? A couple hours with them.
At least 2. I think more.
Taking a tour of their facility and not really interviewing, but having, spending some time with Nedalee and learning about how she started it and what she's all about, and looking at all the different things and meeting people. And we really like what they're doing.
I really like what she's doing.
And so we realize that with the stuff that we do and with the stuff that you do with health, you really don't know if you can't really know unless you get information from the manufacturer, or with a lot of things with ingredients, you don't really know if is acid bed or alkaline, if you don't know magnesium, in this product, that product. At some point you have to just take a leap and go with your gut and go with your intuition and say, I think that we're going to go this way. And that's what we're doing here. And I think it's a really safe partnership that we're going to be entering into, because I really like what she stands for. I like her integrity as a person, and she's the same off the air as she is on the air. Beautiful voice,
Beautiful.
Yeah, just a great person all around.
She's amazing.
So if you want to go through our link and purchase any of her products, it's going to be extremehealthradio.com/Chanson, CHANSON /Chanson, and that will take you to their website, and you can check out their products and stuff like that there and call them up. If you call them up, let them know that we sent you.
Please.
That would be pretty cool.
She'll be happy to know.
Who would have thought? Most people don't even drink water, and here you have people like her and people like this. Their whole business is water.
Well, I still can't get over, how she was saying that she didn't really drink much water before, so it wasn't a big issue. But then when she got what she believes is the best water, she just couldn't stop drinking it.
Yeah.
It's probably the first time in her life when she was truly hydrated. If she's talking about, our brain being 80% water, and you said your liver being 30% or whatever.
And bones are 35-40% water.
Your bones.
That doesn't make any sense. That's pretty cool.
That don't make no sense.
Don't make no sense.
And I thought about last week when I went and got my blood drawn. I hydrated. I've told this story. I woke up at 5:30, 5 in the morning, whatever it was, to start drinking water just to make it an easier blood draw, because it was quite a bit of blood work. And my blood, that is the most hydrated I'd felt in years. Yeah. We don't drink enough water. I am totally guilty as charged. And to see the difference, I remember thinking, I'm going to do this every day, but I want to make sure I'm drinking the right kind of water.
Yeah.
And then believing it's the right kind of water, if that's the route that I feel is best. And even if it's not, we don't know nobody really knows the ideal anything. We just, like you said, go with what we feel is best and believe it. And I think our health is going to follow. So.
Yeah, I think there's a big part of the piece of the pie, which is the belief in what you're doing. And I think that's huge. And you know what I want to do? I want to do this. I want to get the filter from them, and then the ionizer. And then we'll do that. And then what we could do is we could purchase one of those Vitalizer Plus.
Oh,
and we'll put a link to the Vitalizer Plus on this page too. Episode 2, what is it, 85? 285. We'll put a link to the Vitalizer Plus. The Vitalizer Plus, if you guys don't know, it's a little machine. It's kind of like a blender, but it holds, more, and you have these mineral cubes, and you can spin the water, and it creates this whirlpool, and you can spin the water and structure it, and which allows the molecular structure of the water to look like a beehive or something, where it's like a honeycomb. So it makes this hexagonal water, which allows you to store information in that water, and it carries the water directly into the cell. And so it would be cool to take the filtered water, put it in the ionizer, and then put that water into the, the Vitalizer Plus.
Oh, totally.
And then store it. Get this. You ready for this?
I'm ready. I'm bracing.
You're
Holding onto my chair.
You're bracing for impact?
Uh-huh.
And we store it in the clay egg.
Ooh, the clay
with
egg.
the crystal inside of it.
Oh, gosh.
Huh?
With shungite.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We could do that.
Where the heck do we get a clay egg from? What is that company again?
Well, there's a few different places online where you could get it, but...
I think of Mork and Mindy every time.
Oh, yeah.
You know how he's like hanging out in that egg? That was weird.
Wasn't that weird?
Weird story.
Robin Williams.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's a place in Australia, this guy that makes this really beautiful clay egg. We don't have one yet, but I really jonesing to purchase one, but they're really expensive, and you have to pay a lot for shipping because it could crack,
Wasn't it like $400 or something to ship?
Yeah, it's pretty expensive. Ooh. So it would be cool to just fill your egg all the way up with that kind of water, and then just drink it all day long.
I forget. It's the way that it... Is it a temperature thing with the coolness of the ceramic along with the shape of it that creates the health of the water in there?
Yeah.
The proper structuring?
Apparently, the egg is a sacred shape. If you look at all the sacred shapes, like like any actual, like a chicken egg. I mean, there's that egg, like the Earth is actually, it's lopsided, so it's more of an egg shape. Apparently, it's not spherical and perfectly round. It's kind of elongated, and
like Maggie. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. But apparently the egg is a sacred shape, and so when you store things like the womb, it becomes like elongate a little bit. And so the egg, what it does is it keeps the water, because water's always moving, I guess, and so it keeps the water always moving because there's no hard corners to it. And so the warmer water goes up and up the sides. It travels up, and then as it cools, it comes down in the middle. So it keeps the structure of the water longer. So if you were to structure it, then put it in the clay egg, apparently it keeps that structure for much, much longer. And so it just...
So water that's still that you put in that thing would actually keep moving by itself?
Apparently, yeah, it would. Apparently, they've done studies, and they've seen molecules of water moving in ice.
Holy
so even
moly.
if you freeze it, still water is trying to do everything it can to stay in motion. It always wants to move. And so when we put water in some kind of container that doesn't allow it to move freely and because in the egg, it evaporates. The warm water, gets sucked through the porous sides of the egg, and so that water evaporates out, and then the cool water comes up or drops down. I forget which one is which, but it creates this constant cycle of water moving.
Like Ricky the Raindrop.
Like Ricky the Raindrop.
They teach you the whole cycle of the raindrop.
So
interesting.
That's what they claim. Sounds cool. It looks like a cool thing, though. Like... Talk about a conversation starter when people walk in, right?
Hey, nice egg. What's that giant egg?
Why is there a pyramid above your egg with a crystal on it? I don't understand. You're weirdos. But so it sounds...
One step away from Mork and Mindy.
That would be pretty cool, though, to do all that.
Totally.
A little alchemy on your water.
Alchemy. Ooh, I like that word.
Water alchemy. So if you guys are interested in that, Chanson water filters and ionizer, you go to extremehealthradio.com/Chanson, CHANSON. And this was episode 285.
You got it.
285. And by the time this is released, we are going to be probably hiking around in Northern California.
I want to be on the top of some mountain while you guys are hopefully enjoying this episode.
That's right.
Because I will be peaced out.
Peaced out, away from technology.
Just for a while. It's good.
That's going to be nice.
It's good to disconnect.
All right, so that's a wrap, right?
That's a wrap.
All right, thank you all for joining us. Please pass the show on to your friends if you can. We'd greatly appreciate that. Also, if you are someone who spends time on iTunes, we'd appreciate a review. If you could give us a rating and a review, that would be very, very helpful. Apparently, I don't know much about iTunes, but apparently the more ratings and reviews a show has, the more people will find it when people search for shows related to ours. So we'd appreciate that. And if you guys would like to support us, it would be we would be so honored if you would like to send us a donation. There's a link for that at the top of our website, or going through our Amazon link, or we have a great store with all kinds of really cool products like the Bellicon rebounders. We're going to have the Chanson water filters in there. We have the sauna. Then you can
sweat your water out through the sauna.
Yeah, that's right.
Then it'd be so tired from it all, you want to lay on a biomat.
I know. Yeah, biomat's in there. We have juicing programs, detoxification programs, detoxification, herbal cleanses like the Ajuva cleanse. So all kinds of cool stuff.
Vitamixes.
Vitamixes, yeah.
The weather is hot-tatsy.
People get free shipping if they do that through our link. So
that's right.
Yeah, all kinds of good ways to support us, and we appreciate all of it. It's just such an honor to be here, and we're just thrilled that we can do this for you guys. And in order to keep being able to do it, your support is necessary. So we thank you so much for that. And I think that's a wrap, right?
I think you're right.
We're
good to go.
Right.
All right.
All Europing.
All Europing.
All Europing. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and
we will catch you on the next episode.
Nice.
Hey, everybody. This is Josie, Justin's mum. Don't tell him, but I know he would absolutely be really happy if you would sign up to his free weekly newsletter. And don't forget to share this with all your friends. This is the buzzing bumblebee signing off.
That's so good.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you for listening to this episode.
It's time to go for now, but our mission does not end with this show.
Justin and Kate will be back with another interview packed full of ideas, discoveries, and unique ways to regain your health.
Head on over to extremehealthradio.com/subscribe and instantly download our free gift too that contains cutting-edge strategies to start making healthy lifestyle changes today.
No material on this blog is intended to suggest that you should not seek professional medical care. Always work with qualified medical professionals, even if you educate yourself in the field of live food, nutrition, and alternative medicine. I'm not a doctor, nor am I offering readers medical advice of any kind. None of the information offered here should be interpreted as a diagnosis of any disease, nor an attempt to treat or prevent any disease or condition. While information in this blog is discussed